Every guitarist you admire, from Wes Montgomery and Jim Hall to Joe Pass and Kenny Burrell, they all have copied this guy. Today, we're diving into the legendary Charlie Christian. In this lesson, I'm going to decode one of Charlie's most iconic solos, which truly holds the DNA of jazz guitar and shaped everything that came after. Learning this solo will put so many fundamental concepts into perspective, making jazz improvisation feel much easier and much clearer for you. And to help you truly absorb every nuance of this groundbreaking solo, I've created exact guitar profiles for not only the transcription of this solo, but every example in this lesson, along with a written out etude to help you put these concepts into practice. So join me today and let's decode the genius of Charlie Christian. So recently, I had a student who wanted to deep dive into Charlie Christian's playing. As I revisited his work, I was powerfully reminded of why he's truly the father of jazz guitar. His solo on Grand Slam isn't just a collection of great licks, it's a blueprint, a foundational text containing so many ideas later used by the greats. It's got these beautiful bebop-esque runs, clever chromatic embellishments, and those great blues and swing style lines that everybody uses. Let's start with one of the most accessible yet profoundly useful concepts Charlie introduces in Grand Slam. Consider this phrase, for example. At its core, this is just an inverted F major triad starting on the third with a simple diatonic approach note added at the top. This ingenious way to embellish basic arpeggios is still heard everywhere. This same pattern can be moved to start on every note of an F triad, like this. These types of patterns have become staples for a reason. They're incredibly effective ways to add interest to your normal arpeggios. Now let's look at how Charlie expands beyond just simple triads. Take a listen to this next phrase. It sounds fantastic, but if we strip away the chromatic notes, what's left, really? It's simply a D minor 7 arpeggio played over this F7 chord. This adds in the 13th of our dominant chord in a beautiful swing-infused way, moving beyond just the standard F7 arpeggio. You can even mix both these arpeggios together like this. To see how Charlie takes arpeggios even further, check out what he does here. Notice he's playing a D minor 7 flat 5 arpeggio over our B flat 7. This brilliant move, copied by countless players, introduces the 9th, our C natural of the B flat 7, as a rich color tone, showcasing how playing a half diminished arpeggio off the 3rd can add sophisticated color tones. So now, instead of just playing a simple F7 arpeggio when you see F7, you have options. You can embellish it with Charlie's unique arpeggio pattern. You can play the minor arpeggio off the 6th. Or even play the half diminished arpeggio off the 3rd. These are the building blocks that unlock the more sophisticated lines used by our jazz heroes. For example, here's a line that combines all these ideas together. But Charlie's genius wasn't just limited to transforming arpeggios. He also showed us the power of chromaticism in a remarkably simple, yet incredibly effective way to add color and tension that was pretty much copied by everybody, and for good reason. Listen to this simple motive from his solo. Notice it's just an inverted F triad starting on the 3rd, kind of like we used before, but now with a chromatic approach note to the first note of it. This seemingly small addition instantly elevates a basic triad. You can, of course, apply this off of every inversion of F. What's really fascinating here is how this chromatic addition also adds rhythmic interest, emphasizing the upbeats now. If we play our triad without it, now with it. Charlie also masterfully uses this chromatic approach to lead into those arpeggio patterns like we discussed earlier in this lesson. He even integrates chromatic notes in the middle of lines, as in this example where he's using enclosures to embellish a D minor 7 arpeggio over an F7 chord. Taking chromaticism even further, Charlie shows us how to use it to embellish entire chords, not just single notes. His first phrase from the second chorus is a powerful example of this. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is what's called CESH, chromatic embellishment of static harmony. Here, Charlie is playing a D minor arpeggio over the F7, as we learned about earlier in this lesson. Then he's taking the fifth of that D minor arpeggio and chromatically moving it upward. So our static sound is D minor, and he's embellishing it chromatically from the fifth, thus CESH. It's like adding a dynamic moving layer to an otherwise stable sound. Again, notice how Charlie really accents those upbeats in this line, adding that rhythmic interest to it. This powerful approach can be used over minor chords, any of the dominant chords in the blues. Maybe let's use it over the 4 chord, for example, or simply just over major chords as well. While Charlie innovated with arpeggios and chromaticism, he never lost sight of the blues, the very foundation of jazz guitar. This is another essential thread in his musical DNA. For example, check out his opening phrase of this solo. This uses what's often called the Kansas City blues scale, a fantastic guitar pattern derived from the major blues scale, but starting on the 5th. This pattern is woven throughout jazz and blues guitar, used by players who want to pull directly from that rich tradition. Often when using this pattern, players will mix the minor third and the major third of the chord that they're playing over, just as Charlie brilliantly does here in this opening line. This mix of major and minor is a hallmark of the blues sound. Now listen to this next line. Here, Charlie is using a G minor pentatonic scale over our B flat 7 chord, creating this very bluesy feeling. This connects back to our earlier discussion about playing minor 7 arpeggios from the 6th of a dominant chord. Here, he is simply expanding that idea into a minor pentatonic from the 6th. Lastly, let's look at his brilliant closing line over the 5 chord. Here, he is playing an F6 arpeggio over our C7. Now, at first glance, this might not make strict sense with chord scale theory, but this is where Charlie's deep understanding of the blues tradition shines through. In the blues, for example, the 1 chord is often treated like a major sound, while the 4 and the 5 chords are often treated like minor sounds. So what I believe Charlie is doing here is taking an F6 arpeggio, which would be our major sound over the 1 chord, which are coincidentally the same notes as a D minor 7 chord, right? And then making it an F minor 6 arpeggio over the 5 chord. which outlines the minor third of the F7 or the minor sound. Essentially, he's showing us that you could solo over an entire blues form just using an F6 arpeggio over the 1 chord and an F minor 6 arpeggio over the 4 and the 5 chords. Charlie Christian's influence is undeniable. By breaking down his Grand Slam solo, we haven't just learned licks, we've uncovered the core elements, the very DNA of jazz guitar that defined an era and continues to shape jazz guitar today. Remember that you can use the bonus lesson along with the written out etude on my Patreon to help you with that process. Also, on the note of Patreons, I want to give a shout out to those Patreons. Without your support, none of this would be possible, and I truly appreciate you. Thank you. Alright, thank you so much for watching this breakdown of Charlie Christian's solo. And remember to always keep swinging